Hello friends, welcome to today's video. This is a mid-year homeschool update. How is it going? Hey guys, I'm excited for today's video. I am Stacey and today I'm going to be sharing with you how our homeschool year is going so far. This is our mid-year update. So if you're a homeschool mom like me and you geek out about homeschool stuff, then this video is definitely for you. Hit the thumbs up down below and please leave me a comment with how your homeschool year is going. So I have 4 children that I am homeschooling. 3 of them are officially school age and then I have a preschooler. So I'm going to be showing you guys what I have and what has worked and what hasn't worked with them. If you enjoy this kind of thing, be sure to watch this video and give it a thumbs up. Okay, so I'm going to start with my 4-year-old, my preschooler, and go up. If this video gets too long, I will divide it in 2 parts and I'll put my 4th grade twin boys into a second video and how their mid-year homeschool update is going. But let's go ahead and get started. So my preschooler is 4 and he loves to do school and begs for more. I view this year as just really a gentle year for him as far as school goes. If he doesn't want to do school, he doesn't have to. However, that's not the case with this guy. He begs to do school, he wants to do school, he asks for more. I did a little bit of school with him in the morning, then the afternoon he's asking like, can you do school with me again? You didn't do it since yesterday. To him, it seems so long ago. I think he just really likes the one-on-one time with mommy. And I do try to keep his lessons short, so sometimes we can do some stuff in the morning and some stuff in the afternoon. It just really depends how the day is going. So I have several things I'm doing with him. One of them is Sunlight, their preschool. It's T, which is fiction, fairy tales, and fun. And it's for ages 3 and 4. And I just put like 3 weeks or so in my working binder in here, and we go through and read it. Yeah, Sunlight is a literature-based approach to preschool, but they also have like letters and numbers and life skills and music and poetry mixed in, all kinds of stuff. So it's a great, gentle course. It's for 3 days a week, so it is not like a full course, but it's a very gentle approach. So I'm doing it with my 4-year-old and my 6-year-old as far as the stories go. The letters and numbers I'm more focusing on my 4-year-old because my 6-year-old already knows those. But this is a poetry book, Mother Goose, and every other page is black and white, and then the next page is in color. So they really enjoy this. My 6-year-old especially really enjoys poetry. He likes to memorize it and go around and recite them. And here is a story of the crooked man and the crooked house and the crooked cat and all that. And he often will ask me to reread that poem. He really likes it. So the books I'm showing you are the books we're currently reading in this week of Sunlight, and we are about halfway through. But this is the Bible story book, and this one, it has really short Bible stories, usually just one spread. And then in the Sunlight Instructor's Guide, they have suggestions for discussions or questions or prayers that you can do with your child. And even my 3-year-old can understand these stories. Occasionally he'll be like, oh, we learned that story in Sunday school, or we watched that on Superbook. My boys really enjoy watching Superbook. And so I'm really happy to see him making those connections. And my husband was doing this even at bedtime with our whole family. Recently he started reading directly from the Bible, so we have moved this back now to doing this as part of our school. The next book we're reading in is Hans Christian Andersen Fairy Tales, and this has bright, colorful pictures and not too many words per page. Some of these fairy tales I've heard before and some I haven't, but they're really interesting, and actually all my boys will often come and listen when I'm reading out of here. We often sit back here on the couch and snuggle and read together, and it creates really good bonding memories, and I'm really enjoying the stories. This is one that we read earlier this year, and it has a lot of different stories in it. 2 of my children's favorite is Harold and the Purple Crayon, and they asked me to reread that one a lot. And in this book, at the end of each story, they have a page telling you different ideas you could do with your children, how to act out the story. And then my children's other favorite story in here was Pizza, and it talks about how his parents make him into a pizza, and then you're supposed to role play that and act it out. Also, like you cut pepperoni out of red paper, and your child lays on the table and you have to knead the dough, and then you bake them in the oven, you put them in the couch, and then you have to put before you bake them, you have to put your circles of pepperoni you cut out of red construction paper, you got to put it on top of them, and at one point you tickle them, and at one point you get up and chase them around the table, and my 4-year-old and 6-year-old love this, and even my twins got into acting it out with us. So these stories we reread, we don't just read them once, we reread them a lot. We even made like pizza out of craft paper and hung it up on our wall and made pizza in real life. So yeah, they've had a lot of fun with it, and we've created a lot of good memories. And then this here is a word book. It is Spanish words, and we are not trying to teach our children Spanish, but my 4-year-old, he loves to sit with me, and I'm holding it upside down. He loves to sit with me and go over the words. He tries to say them after me, and he sits there and giggles and kind of puts his hand over his mouth. He knows he's not quite saying them right, but he thinks it's a lot of fun. It's just a fun little bonding moment between him and I. My 6-year-old doesn't do this, but we're not memorizing the words. We're just simply, I read them and he copies me, and we have a lot of fun doing it. So I also have the preschool kit that comes with it, this clipboard, and like these shapes came with it. So right now he is supposed to be tracing with his finger, tracing it with these pencil crayons. He likes these pencil crayons. He loves, they belong to him, and they're triangle shaped and they have little grips on them, and it came in the preschool kit box. And then like last week we did the circle, and then he had to trace rainbow colors through the circle, draw lines of rainbow through it, and rainbow is his favorite color currently, so he really enjoyed that. And then one other aspect of Sunlight that I like is it includes life skills. You can see this chair behind me, my husband's office chair. And like a little knife came with it that you can practice cutting bread or like soft fruit like a banana. Or this week he was supposed to be using a tongue and practice putting cotton balls from one bowl to the next bowl. And so lots of little life skills like that that he really likes. And if you need it to be more challenging, they give suggestions in the instructions guide on how to make it a little bit harder for him or a little bit easier. So yeah, we are really enjoying doing that. I like doing one core with 2 kids. And then my older son, who's in kindergarten, Creed, he mostly just listens to the stories. And then my younger son, who is 4, listens to the stories and also does the flashcards and all that stuff. One thing we have not been doing in the Sunlight is it comes each week with whatever letter you're learning that week. There's one paper that they're supposed to practice tracing. And my 4-year-old is just not interested in writing at all. And so I have not pushed it. Sometimes I'll tell him, okay, like let's just trace one letter. And he might do that. I'll use like a really fat highlighter or something. But he usually is not interested in doing even half the page. And so since he is 4, I don't push it. This is just meant to be an introduction to letters, and I'm not wanting him to learn to write at this age. Okay, the other main program that we have been doing for quite a while is the Dental and Classical Preschool, and I have a memory board, and then in here I have all the memory statements printed and like the schedule for each week. And so this is just like clear plastic protector sheets, and I just stick the week's worth of stuff in here. And then I pull out all the flashcards and stuff from here and put it on my memory statement wall. And I'll insert a clip here of a memory statement wall. Okay, so this is my memory statement board. And this is like the book that we are listening to this week. There's a poem, nursery rhyme, there's scripture and Bible memory, and this has a song that you can listen to. They tell you about it in the teacher's manual. You can find it on YouTube. This is the math, like more and less, and then virtue and catechism, and there's songs to go with that. And then a memory statement. And again, the teacher's guide, they're giving you more detailed instruction about what to do with this. And then there is manner and hygiene. And then there's an art section and a music section. And so one week you do art, one week you do music. This here is Peter and the Wolf. It's a musical. And then I'm actually supposed to have an art picture for this week, but I stopped printing them. Instead, we just look at it on the computer screen because it's quite expensive to print a picture. Yeah, so that is this week's memory statement board. So we really enjoy the books that come with this. We usually look them up on YouTube, and I can usually find them on there. And we don't have access to a library here in Cambodia. Hopefully in the future we will. Anyway, that's a different rabbit trail. But yeah, so we can usually find them on YouTube, and then I'll hear him going around singing the little songs or little Bible verse, stuff like that. And yeah, we enjoy that. He often will play with the little figures from Peter and the Wolf and just act out the story and play with that, sit on the floor while I'm doing school with the other boys, so that's really sweet. So the preschool one, it comes with this morning binder. We were doing this for a while, but we have stopped now. He got kind of tired of it. Yeah, we use a dry erase marker. These are just laminated and then erase it. And it worked fairly good, but as you can see, there is still like, I don't know, it didn't completely wipe off all the time. But yeah, so we would do that. We live in Cambodia, and so the weather is just always hot. And so this page never really changed. It's like always sunny and hot, or during rainy season it was always rainy. So it was just, I don't know, it's not as interesting maybe if you live where you would have 4 seasons in a year. And then the other part that comes with it is you have the tracing the letter, and then back here you gotta find the letter. So each day you can do one letter, and so each week you would learn one letter and then one number or review numbers, and there's also shape pages. So he is really good with his shapes and colors, and numbers 1 to 10 he does really good at. So yeah, and then letters, I just use it as a means to introduce him to them. We are almost done with his preschool one, and I already have the next level primer. I don't have it printed yet, but I'm excited for that and looking forward to that. Something else we did this past school year where I had gotten the pack, I think there's 3 or 4 of these little skinny books from Rod and Staff, and he has blown through these. This one here is for 3 or 4-year-olds, and then I think the others are for more like 4-year-olds, and it is just tracing stuff. Again, he is not super interested in writing, and so and coloring and stuff, anything like that. So I would pick out pages like this where he has to match the shape, like how many shapes there are to the number, and draw lines. But pages where it required a lot of coloring, we would sometimes skip those, and I will just save this and see if in the future he is more interested in coloring, and if not, it's okay. He knows his colors and he can color. He just, as of right now, is not super interested in it. And I remember that with my other boys, they hit a stage where suddenly they were really interested in coloring, and I guess maybe the muscles in their hands grew and they were more able to color without it hurting as quickly or something. I don't know. But anyway, I'm guessing he'll get there. He just isn't right now. So these were a hit. These were good. It's just that he's not super into coloring. He likes the cutting stuff and gluing stuff, and where he has to draw lines and stuff like that. This here is a series from Rod and Staff also, and it goes like ABC, like this back here. And there is more than just this too, but I just have these right here. They came in a pack. And so we did the first several of these books. As you can see, he did do some coloring. I would sometimes help him. He loved pages like this here where he had to circle the one that was the smallest. Yeah, so pages that he has to think a little bit. He loves doing like workbook type pages. So we are still working on this series. I think we have 3 done and maybe 2 more to go. But yeah, it's going good. Again, we often skip the coloring pages, or he'll just color a little bit in where he's supposed to be coloring. So I just have a few more things here for my preschooler. These are flashcards that we just go over. We play games. I put them on the floor. And I'll get like 3 to 4 that he knows really good, and then maybe 1 new one. And then for 1 week, we'll just play games with those. Like I'll put him on the floor and tell him to go hop on whichever letter, or we'll use a Nerf gun and he's to shoot whichever letter. And we just do sounds. I'm not doing names at this point. And touch them, and then till the end of the week I try to have him to be able to tell me the sound instead of me like telling him the sound. He has to go touch it. So it's just like one step harder, like 1 level up. And usually till the end of the week he can. And so then the next week I will keep some of the main cards and add 1 new one and keep reviewing and adding like that. This here is The Good and the Beautiful, the pre-writing, and I had bought the PDF and then just printed it off. And this one we have been working on probably a year already. He is not super into writing, so if he wants to do it, we do, and then for a while it will just sit on my shelf. But he's about halfway through there. Like I said, I'm not worried. He'll be able to have lots of time later in his life to learn and practice writing. I have some of these Cumin workbooks. These are just cut and paste scissor skill practice. With the Sunlight, it also came with a little scissors in the box and some pages that have like zigzag lines or straight lines or diagonal lines, and he can practice cutting on there too. So we have opportunities for him to practice cutting and get scissor skills. In his chart here, or in his stack of books here, I have stickers. Every day when he completes his schoolwork, he can put a sticker on his chart, because I have that for his older brothers and he wants to do it too, and then they can earn rewards. He doesn't have to do his school, but he wants to. He wants to do everything they do and keep up with them. I picked this up used, we were in the States this past summer. We just started this. We did like the first 2 or 3 pages, and it is just super simple things having to do with numbers. So we will just continue slowly working at this, and it's not something we even do every day. It's just kind of more like a workbook for fun, because he loves workbooks. I have What Your Preschooler Needs to Know, and I really enjoy picking out little poems in here that have hand motions, and then working on memorizing it with him and my 6-year-old, my kindergartner. So right now we're working on a little turtle one. There was a little turtle who hid in a box, and he liked to swim in the water and climb on the rocks, and there's little hand motions for each thing. There's also stories in here. Sometimes at bedtime, I'll read a story out of here to them. Usually there's little motions they can do that the book suggests for them to do. I like this edition because it's in color. There is another version of this one, but it's black and white, and it's a little bit older version, but I like the little bit newer version that is in color. I don't use like the science and history portions. I use the poems, the songs, the stories, and that's about it. Here's the little poem actually. I was wrong, it's not in that book. It was from this one. This is from a friend on Instagram. She is homeschooling my boys, but this is her spring edition of Finger Plays, and this is the turtle one that I was actually talking about that we're working on memorizing. And we did this one earlier this year. This is a beehive, and my 4-year-old can do it, and it's so sweet. It is so cute, and it has little things to do with your fingers as you say it. Yeah, so that has been a big hit. And I do this with my 4-year-old and 6-year-old. Most of this other stuff I'm showing you, I just do with my 4-year-old. This here is for my 4-year-old. I got this from JDA Learning. She has a YouTube channel, and she is also on Teachers Pay Teachers, and she sells stuff. But this is the preschool beginner math, and we just started this one. Also, he has been asking for more school, like I said, and I felt like I didn't have enough workbook stuff. He wants to do workbook stuff when my other boys are sitting at their table doing their math and their language arts, and I just didn't have very much for him. So this here is just workbook pages, like top or bottom. Is the ball on the top? Is the bird on the bottom? Here he has to color all the number ones. And as you can see, he didn't really color. He just did like one little scribble in each circle that had a number 1. He loves pages like this, where he has to count how many it is and circle the number. And so, yeah, I think that he will really like this one because it's something he can kind of do while his big brothers are doing school. I got the other ones also, but they are still sitting on my shelf and we haven't started those, so we'll be saving those for later in the year. I like to use these little sticker markers. That's what's sticking out up there. And then the last thing is this here. I picked this up in the States the last summer, and we just started this also. Like I said, he is asking for more school and thinks he doesn't have nearly enough. So we are starting Math with Confidence Kindergarten. We will work through this very, very slowly. I don't know, like numbers 1 through 10, I think he'll do really fine with, but I don't know how he'll do once we get beyond that. So if we need to take a break from it and pause, we will, or if we can split lessons in half, I don't know. But so far, I'm on lesson like 4, not very far. So far, he loves it. And the lessons are really short and sweet, and he likes all the activities and how he has to get up and go hop and do different stuff like that, and it all suggests it in here. So far we're liking it, but I'm only 4 lessons in, we'll see. And then looking at the future, I did this with Creed when he was around this age. This is Alphabet Adventures from Rachel. She has a YouTube channel here on YouTube. I will try to link her down below, but she creates these and they are very inexpensive. And so I bought the PDF and printed it here. It's black and white, so not too expensive to print. Here, printing can be expensive if it's in color. So you have the student book, part 1, and the teacher book, part 1, and then I have part 2 over on my bookshelf. So this is the first half of the alphabet, and the next one's the next half of the alphabet. So like I said, I'm viewing this year as just introducing him to letters and mostly focusing on letter sounds, not as much the letter names. And then hopefully next year we can have a little more of a solid move into a little more solidly, vigorously. But that is what I did with Creed, and it worked really good. I did Alphabet Adventures, and then I moved on to The Good and the Beautiful, their preschool one. And this was a really good introduction to letters for him and very gentle. So yeah, we're gonna do this with Caden now, my second time going through it. Okay, one more thing looking at the future. I'm gonna be doing this with Caden also. This is Get Ready for the Code, and I have the teacher's guide here. I have 2 of the book A's because I'm gonna also have Creed, my kindergartner, do this also. This will be easy review for him, but they enjoy doing school together. And for Caden, it'll be a little bit challenging, but I think he's ready. He'll be ready for this. So I have A, B, and C, 2 copies of each, and then the teacher's guide. So we're gonna be working on that the second half of this school year. And then I have one more resource that I do with Creed and Caden also, and this here is Developing the Early Learner. And I have 2 of these because I had 1 copy already, and then when I got the second through a friend actually. And then I have the teacher's guide. This is actually a Timberdoodle parent guide, but it goes through and gives more clear directions. Some of the pages in this book is a little bit hard to understand what you're supposed to do or what exactly they're wanting, and so they have an answer key in here and also a little more clear directions. And so Creed and Caden love doing this together, my 4-year-old and 6-year-old. And I would say it's really good for my 4-year-old. It's about his development stage is perfect for my 6-year-old. It's a little easy, but it's also good practice for him too. And it's a lot of just like critical thinking skills is what I would call it. So we have, like here you have to make 2 different sounds, and then they have to close their eyes and listen, and you make 2 different sounds, and if the sounds are the same, they circle happy face. If the sounds are different, they circle the sad face. And here is pages where you can have a tray with these things on the tray, and then they close their eyes. So here's number 1. See how they hold up 1 finger? I like that. They close their eyes and you take away 1 thing, they open their eyes, and they have to figure out which thing you took off the tray, and they have to circle it on here. And then you do the second time and the third time. And so that's really fun. Sometimes we don't have the exact object, so I'll just tell them we're gonna substitute this toy for this thing, and they can understand that, they can follow it. So yeah, it has about like 5 or 6 pages that are like roughly the same, and then it does it again. The next 5 or 6 pages are roughly the same. Like it'll have each set or each lesson, I'm not quite sure how it is, will have one thing where you use the tray. And then like 5 days later, have one thing where you use the tray. So you can do 1 page a day, or you could do 5 pages a day, you know, whatever, however you want to do that, how fast you want to go through it. I believe there is 4 of these books, and this is book 1. So we're about halfway through book 1. It's been going really good, and we'll continue that through the rest of our second half of our school year. And this will possibly last us in the next school year too, we'll see. Okay, moving on to my kindergartner. He is 6 years old. He was 5 at the beginning of the school year, but has turned 6 during it. And it's so much fun teaching him. He is so ready to learn, and he really has a good memory. And so it's easy to teach him something, and he doesn't just immediately forget it, which makes it really fun. We can keep things moving along pretty good. So first of all, this is Big Truths for Little Kids. So he is doing the Sunlight Preschool with my 4-year-old, but that's 3 days a week. So on the 2 days when we don't do that, I'll read out of here. Usually I just read 1 lesson out of here per week, and then the other day of school we usually just end up skipping, or we end up getting out of the house or something and didn't have time. So this is Big Truths for Little Kids. This is an older book, but I really like how it includes catechism questions, and then it has a story to kind of go with the catechism question and explain it further. And then it will usually have a let's talk section and a let's pray section. And so this is about right for my 6-year-old, and he has a lot of questions about God and heaven and hell and stuff like that, and he thinks about that and asks questions, and I can see his brain is trying to figure this all out. And so this is really good for him to help him to understand, like, who is God and what is the Holy Spirit and how does it help us, and how is there 3 in 1, like the Trinity and stuff like that. So it's introductory. It's not super deep, but it's perfect for a 6-year-old. Okay, next of all is our language arts kindergarten level with the Good and the Beautiful, and we are on lesson 6. We're ready for lesson 64. So I feel like we are moving along at a good pace through here, considering we had a late start to our school year. We live in Cambodia, but are from the States. And this past summer we were traveling to the States, and then we came back to Cambodia and had a late start because we were traveling into the fall for a little bit. But yeah, these lessons are going really good. He's learning how to read. I love teaching kids how to read. It's so hard, but it's so fulfilling. It's so much work, and some days are hard and frustrating, but there are other days where you can see them learning and moving and making progress, and it's so rewarding. So as you guys probably know, the Good and the Beautiful, they have redone their kindergarten level a couple times, and I think it is so much better now than what it was. I did it with my twins when they were in kindergarten, but I like this version much better now. It comes with this little book, trying to find the front cover here, Reading Booster A cards. So these are like really stiff cardstock type paper, and each day you can have them read one. But as you know, when kids are learning to read, they often can take off reading a lot faster than what they can with writing and other skills. So they say in the teacher's guide here that if you want, you can go ahead and move faster through this book than what you are in here. So I appreciate that they say that, because that's definitely the case with my Creed. We are pretty close to where you're supposed to be, but I think we are a little bit ahead in this book. But he is doing so good with this and learning to read. He has CVC words and is now starting to do like consonant blends at the beginning and at the end of words. And it's just so fun to see him taking off and enjoying it. We're walking around, or he's playing a game on the computer or something, and he'll be trying to like read what it says, and it's like a really long word, and he's there trying to sound out each letter. It's so sweet. I also have the Reading Booster A books. So this is a little box with little books in it like this, thin little books, and bright, colorful little pages with not too much writing per page. And it correlates with this book here. So it'll tell you down here, like, okay, now the child is ready to read book number 11 from here. And it goes over the same sounds that were just recently taught in here. It'll go over the same sounds in here. And on the back of these here also will say like what sounds this book goes through. So it's really good at this age to reread the same thing, because it really builds confidence and speed. And so in here they will suggest that, like, okay, this is, you can read book number 11, and then again another time they'll say, okay, you can read book number 11. So I really appreciate that. And then I also made a chart for him on my wall that each time he'd read one of these little books 2 times, it has to be 2 different days, then he can color in the little square on his chart. And when he gets, is it 6 or 10 colored in, then he gets a little bit of money that he can go to a little corner store here and buy a snack. We have little corner stores here everywhere. And like for 25 cents, you can get a nice little snack. So a piece of candy or something like that. So that is really motivating for him. it's hard, but it also, he enjoys it and he's proud of himself. And then with being able to go and buy a snack every so often, it really motivates him. One thing I wanted to say, in the course book here, when he gets to do letter tiles, he really likes that. We have the app downloaded on my phone and also on the twins' iPad. And so he will use one of those and he can go through, I tell him the words and he tries to type in on there, and he loves that. He thinks that's a lot of fun. We'll often get done with this and he doesn't want to stop. And then also my 4-year-old will want to do it, and so we'll have one of them on the phone, one on the iPad. And the 4-year-old doesn't know how to do it yet, but it's good exposure for him. He's just there trying to copy his big brother and to move the letter tiles to make it look like creeds. So yeah. All right, next of all is math, and we are using CLE, Christian Light Education, their math. So this boy, this kindergartner, he is very math-minded. Like, he just gets math. I don't really even have to teach him stuff. He counts to like 1,000 or 2,000 for fun. He counts by 2s, by 5s, by 10s, just for fun. Even 3s, he can count by 3s. He wants to learn multiplication. He's asking to learn, and I'm like, child, you're in kindergarten, you're doing 1st grade math, but he's wanting to learn multiplication. So I don't know yet. I may teach him a few just to, because he wants to learn. Why not? This math, honestly, it is too easy for him. He can do a lesson like all on his own and doesn't need my help. There are story problems in here, and he needs me to read them out of the teacher's manual. But anything that is like independence, we're on lesson 67 here. So here we will be doing lesson 68 tomorrow, and he could probably do 95% of this by himself. Like the story problem, he'll just need me to read it to him so he knows what numbers to use. Down here, I have to tell him the numbers to write. So yeah, we are flying through here. I will sometimes skip a lesson because I know it's just so easy. I don't want him to get frustrated with it being so easy. So he will, I'm not quite sure what to do next year. I like the Good and Beautiful math, but I chose to not do it with him because I knew he's really good at math and he wants something that's fairly independent. And I felt like this was more down his alley. With the Good and Beautiful at the kindergarten level, there's quite a bit for the teacher to read to the child and games to play with them, which he would like. As the mom, I just don't have time to sit there and do every single lesson with him. When this is something that he gets, it's easy for him and he can do by himself. When I'm doing school with my 4th graders, he will pull out his math and work on this. He'll do multiple lessons in a day if I let him. Which is fine. And then other days he will skip a math lesson, and so it's not a big deal. But yeah, so we are flying through this math. So I would say this math is a hit because it's so independent. It's something that I don't have to be there with him. In kindergarten, there's not a whole lot that I don't have to be there and do with him, but this is one thing that he can mostly do by himself, and then I'll come and check it and do like the couple parts I have to do with him. There is some things I do like teach him, like teaching him the clock. That was something I taught him, and then also going over like money. I have like fake money and going through the coins and just explaining that, the names and stuff like that. So yeah, we still have fun together doing math. He just is able to do some of the parts by himself. These are 2 things I forgot to mention, part of our language arts. I have the reader, the Afric reader, and this goes at the same level that the language arts does. So when they're learning to read at the beginning, it's just CVC words, and it only introduces the sight words that they already know. And then as it proceeds, it goes in the same order of the sounds that are taught that go with their course book. So I really appreciate that. And then I picked this up from Christian Light. This is sight word cards. So for example, this is the sight word could. The little blue truck said, I thought I could, I thought I could. And then there is a lot more in here with pictures. And these are really good for like right brain children. And then on the back of each one, it has a sentence. And so I follow like the Good and the Beautiful, but as it introduces different sight words, I'll pull it out of here. And then we review it just a couple times a week to help him remember those sight words. It doesn't necessarily have the same sight words that the Good and Beautiful would have, but this is the list it does have, and a lot of them are overlapping. We also teach English as a second language here in Cambodia, and I think I'll use that with some of my students with that. This is a book that his grandma gave him, and we do 1 or 2 pages in here usually a day, and it's just a kindergarten book, and he enjoys doing it. He really likes the mazes. We are about half done with this, and then I am doing, how do I hold this? I'm doing Little Hearts and Hands, Wind and Waves with him, and he loves this. We did Little Hearts and Hands, Flowers, and what is it? It's like the nature one. We did that one already and the beginning of the school year and finished it, and now we're doing this one. And we've only about 2 lessons in this one. This one so far seems slightly more advanced than what that one was, but I don't know, I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments. Do you agree with that? We've only done, I believe, 2 or 3 lessons in here so far. But this is like the course book, and it has suggestion questions, like opening questions, optional activities, and then you read a story in here, or you watch a video depending on the day, and then they have discussion questions afterwards, and then usually an optional activity. And so we have really enjoyed that. He does really good at comprehending the story, even when I feel like he's not listening, and he's able to answer the questions. So that's been really fun. My 4-year-old will sometimes listen, sometimes not, but I mostly do this with my 6-year-old. If we're having a really busy day, and for my kindergartner, we will skip his science and just do his math and language arts and just focus on that. But most days we have time to do that. Then I have a couple things for my kindergartner that are independent, like when I'm doing school with someone else and he wants to do something. This is a maze book that we picked up. We were at States this summer. I got this at like a little Amish and Mennonite store in Virginia, but they have them in Pennsylvania a lot too. And I don't know if you can get them online, but this is like connect the dots, so it's good practice counting for him. And then along the same line is this maze book, and again it's by Carlisle Press, but this here is mazes, and he loves this book. I actually got it copied also for my twins because they wanted to do it also. But yeah, and we do one a day in here, or he does one a day in here. He's almost done with that one. This is the Good and Beautiful Kindergarten handwriting book. We forgot about this book for a while. I think he would be done with it otherwise, but it got lost on my bookshelf, and I found it again the other day, and he was delighted. So he is about halfway through this one. We've been working on it a while ago, then it sat on my shelf, and now we dug it out again, and he will work on finishing this one, a page a day. And then I just got this for him. I did this with my twins when they were his age, and so this is Explode the Code, level 1. And like I said, he did before the code A, B, and C before, but this here is just working on, at the beginning here, it works on CVC words, which is right where he's at. And we'll do 1 or 2 pages in here a day. If our day is really full, this is one thing we'll skip, but this is something I want him to be able to work on independently. So since he is moving on now to 4-letter words, I think he can start on this one at least, because I want it to be something that's more on the easy side for him and review, and not like something that's new and challenging. So I aim to keep this at a level that's just slightly easier than what his language arts is, and so far it's working. I have a joke book, and he thinks it's for him because he can see the 6. He doesn't know it's 6-year-old edition. I think it's like the 6th version, but maybe it means it's for 6-year-olds. I don't know. But anyway, it has jokes in it, and he enjoys them. Sometimes he gets them, sometimes he doesn't. But a lot of them are animal jokes, and so he thinks those are funny. That's what I have for my kindergartner. He enjoys the stories that I do with the Sunlight Tea with my preschooler, and then he often actually sits in with the Sunlight readers that I do with my 4th graders also, and he's starting to be able to understand those stories too. But I hope you guys enjoyed seeing our mid-year homeschool update for my preschooler and kindergartner. I really enjoy teaching them. It's a lot of fun. At this age, they love learning. They love spending one-on-one time with mom, and it's such a delight. I absolutely love it. Honestly, I find a lot of fulfillment from teaching them, and it doesn't mean every day is easy. There are hard days, but I find a lot of fulfillment and purpose from it, and I really enjoy it. I feel really passionate about it. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Let me know how your year is going, or if you have any questions about any of the resources I use. And yeah, we will see how the second half of our school year goes, and I'll be here to give another update at the end of the school year. Thanks, bye.